Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about the visa requirements for travel into Panama. You're watching Outside is Calling. Intro video.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jesse.
And we've been traveling full-time for nearly 2 years.
We escaped our 9-to-5 jobs, became digital nomads, and we're even in a documentary.
Check out OutsideIsCalling.com in the description below if you'd like to know more.
We've been living in Panama for 3 months and have gotten a ton of questions from people asking us what it's like.
We've created an entire series answering those questions and more. So subscribe so you don't miss any.
And for those of our longtime RV subscribers, even if you don't want to go to Panama, please stick around because next month we'll have a lot of videos about taking our big ol' honkin' RV down into Mexico. For those of you watching this whole series, you've heard a little bit already about visa requirements, but we're doing a whole video because we can't stress enough how important it is to have your ducks in a row before you go to Panama. For those of us from the US, it's pretty easy. We just show up with a smile on our face and we get a passport on arrival for 6 months. Pretty awesome, and not many countries do that, but it's still important to check and make sure that you do qualify for that because some nationalities have to file for their visas months in advance and might only get a 1-month visa. So it's good to know what you're going to get before you get there. So what's important to know is once you arrive in Panama, you have to do one of two things or sometimes both. And that is you have to have a return flight or ticket getting you out of Panama. They don't want you to be stuck there, or they want to see that you have $500 in your bank account or some sort of fund somewhere. And they call that the proof of solvency. And so essentially it's Panama's safeguard to keep you from being stuck in their country and them having to take care of you. They want to make sure that you come to their country, have a good time, but that you don't get stuck there and become their responsibility. So those two things, one or both. The other thing, your passport, if it's wherever your passport's from, but in our case, a US passport, the date of our passport expiration, typically good for 10 years, but our passport needed to be at least 6 months or longer before it expired in order for us to go into Panama. And that's because they issue us a 6-month visa. They want to make sure that your passport will not expire while you're in the country. Again, they don't want you stuck in Panama. I went through all the Panamanian, which is a lot of their information about visitors and how you get there, and there's some weird exclusions or special things for people that arrive via private boat. So not a cruise ship, but if you're going to sail or arrive in Panama on your own boat, on arrival you get a 3-month visa. So you don't get the full 6-month visa that people who fly or drive into the country get, but you'll get a 3-month visa if you arrive by private boat. But there's also some verbiage in that phrase on the website that explains that you could actually have your passport extended or your visa extended up to 2 years. So if you're arriving by boat, might be a good way if you want to spend some time in the country. It did say, however, though, that people that are doing that boat option have to pay a $110 fee for processing. So if you fly into Panama, the airline's going to give you out a customs declaration page or an entry permit, and typically you get one of these per family, and you'll fill that out before you get to the customs agent. And nobody ever has pins on a flight. Like 1 or 2 people typically have pins, and I don't know if it's being selfish, but I always have a pen with me, but I'm not a full-on germphobe.
Welcome to this hypnosis session. We shall be focusing on overcoming fear of germs.
But I hate spreading germs, and there's a lot of germs on an airplane, and so I secretly kind of like fill mine out and stash my pen away. Not to be mean, but just, hey, keep your germs to yourself, right? So anyways, know that you're gonna have to fill out this form before you get to the customs agent, and you might have to fight over pens. So if you can remember, bring a pen with you. It'll save you some time trying to look for a pen on the airplane. The stewardesses, they don't give out pens. I don't know why, but they don't offer pens. So it's always like this rush of people trying to find or share pens to fill out these forms. A random factoid, but on that one of the blocks on that form is your the address in Panama. It asks you where you're going to be at in Panama. When we arrived in Panama, we knew the hotel we're going to be at for the first night, but there's 2.5, almost 3 months more time elsewhere. We didn't know that address. They didn't care. All they wanted was that box filled out. So just put anything, hopefully, you'll know your first stop, and put that in there. In our case, it was the Riande Hotel at the airport. So super easy, fill that box out. As long as that box is filled out, they're not gonna bug you. I think for the most part, they just want to make sure all the boxes are filled out, and they don't really care so much about the information, which maybe they will if something happens, but when you're going through the customs agent through that part of the airport, they just want your form filled out completely. And if you're not sure about that box, just put in something nearby where you think you're going to go. Put in your best guess. After the customs agent reviews your form, we're gonna stamp your passport, take your photo, and get some fingerprints from you. And that stamp on the passport, that's the gospel. That's how long you're allowed to be in the country. So make sure you check that out. Once you are in Panama, we found that it's not very safe and it's not preferable to carry your passport with you all the time because it could get lost, stolen, and then what? So for a while, we actually didn't take ours with us. We just left them at the house and they'd be there if we needed to get them. But then we found out from a corrupt cop that we were legally supposed to have our passports on us. We traveled a lot. We kind of knew this, but we had been doing it so long, we got lazy, I guess you could say. And we didn't have them on us. We found ourselves an hour from the house. And so long story short, had we had a photocopy of our passports and a photocopy, not just a passport, but you just show like the date of expiration, your photo, as well as the stamp and the date that you're allowed to be in Panama until. Had we had those, we would have been just fine. We could have gone through, but we paid a corrupt cop $150 because we didn't have our passports or those copies of our passports with us.
Licencia más el pasaporte.
Oh, see the
para ver cuando usted entró al país.
I have the money inside of our paperwork. And I'm gonna go back. Okay,
Are you
so I have the money inside the papers. People get excited about corrupt cops and morditas and this and that, and don't let me taint your excitement of going to Panama. We've been traveling all over the Central American countries for a long time. This is our first time dealing with a corrupt cop. We'll have a video in our series coming up all about that experience and what happened and how we could have prevented it. We also had some great experiences with other police officers. So all I can say is that just, if you do your due diligence, bring your passport or a copy, and you'll have a great experience.
If you are planning a trip to Panama and it will be your first time, we would love to answer any questions if we can. So leave a message in the comments below.
Be sure to check out our playlist with tons more information about traveling through Panama and Central America. Hey guys, I've created a website page just for all this information covered in the series. The link is in the description below.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.